93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. And what are we in, week 3? We're going into week 3 now. Savannah Guthrie's mom is missing. That's terrible. And one thing you don't like about that story is it kind of makes us contemplate our own mortality. And then you hear Robert Duvall passed away. Now, it's not a shock. The guy's 95. But the world we grew up in is slowly sort of attritioning out. There's this slow atrophy where you think like, we only get to share this earth with a few billion people. And I know that sounds like a lot, but in all of human history, up till about 60 years ago, I'm 48. So up until I didn't know anybody. And so now I'm sharing the world. When I was born with 5 billion other people, it's like 8 billion now. And we're all only going to be here for maybe 100 years, probably more like 80. And so we just get to share this earth for a small amount of time. But I've noticed much older people, like when you get into your 90s, most of the people that you shared your life with are gone. Your parents have been gone. All your aunts and uncles are gone. If you're in your 90s, probably most of your cousins are gone, if not all your first cousins. And sometimes if you live too long, you outlive your own kids. And really, by the time you pass away, like I just went through this with Miss Parker's grandparents. They lived well into their 90s, both sets of them. And they would tell you the same thing. Like, all my friends are dead. I'm ready to go. And I could never understand that because the prime directive of all of us is to stay alive, propagation of the species. But I went and I saw Michael Richards last night, the guy who played Kramer. And Garrett was there. It was awesome. It was very funny. But there were twice I started tearing up. And I swear if I had fully mature adult emotions, I probably would have cried. But the question is, why is he doing that? And it's evoking the same emotion from Savannah Guthrie's mom still missing. The pain she must be going through, hanging in life's limbo there. Then Robert Duvall passed away, and you got to find out about this right before you go on the air. Not that I knew him, not that you knew him. We never had a conversation with him at all. But the guy who was in all these movies and whatnot that we share the earth with for so long, for all of my life he's been here, he's now gone. And I think Michael Richards at age 76, he doesn't need to work another day in his life. He's a bazillionaire many times over, just sitting on his butt. But he got real existential in his old age. And I like that because I'm running out of people to learn from. Even like smart people with high IQs. When you're 20, you can learn from people who are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 because they've done things you haven't. They've gotten married. They've had kids. They've bought a house and got a mortgage and defaulted on a credit card or whatever. As you get older and older, you run the number of people who you're sharing earth with who you can get wisdom from diminishes greatly. Like, I'm a smart fella, but I don't know more about the world than an 80-year-old. That's another 30 years of experience on top of mine, to where even if they're slow, even if they have a 90 IQ, they could probably teach me a lot. And so you would think Robert Duvall's one of those people. He's gone. And so when you ask yourself, why is Michael Richards doing this? Why would he even bother getting off his butt at age 76 and going around and talking to theaters of people, using his existing celebrity from his canon of work to reach a crowd, to give them a message? What's the message that's so important? And it was a lot of this. It was contemplating your own mortality, appreciating the fact that some people have a really tough life. Some people have a really easy life. You didn't get to choose where you're born or who you're born to. But the ultimate goal here in finding happiness is just recognizing how short it really is. That's where it comes from. That's when you appreciate life. That's why so many teenagers are miserable. They think they're going to live forever, right? Life sucks and I'm going to live. No, you're not going to live forever. In fact, you only get some of you are only going to have like 300 more dinners before you're gone. Like if my dad dies in the next year, he's got 360 dinners. Is he going to waste them? Is he going to get drive-through at Chick-fil-A? Or is he going to maybe go pick up some extra Chick-fil-A drive-through and go take it to his grandkids? So I don't have to pay for dinner every day. Huh? But no, the Michael Richards thing's kind of messed with your head last night. Because at that age, I feel like you know so much. And that's kind of when people stop listening to you. And what good is that? So, old people, share your wisdom with me. You don't have to call in because I don't want to hear no 12-minute story. We don't have time for that. But send me an email or a Facebook message or what do I need to know? You know, I'm 48. I've got kids, but I've got all this contemplating my own mortality thing hanging over your head. I know I don't have a whole lot of time left. I'm more than halfway done. What do we need to know? Share it with us, and I'll go through these. It probably won't be able to happen today, but maybe on a Friday or something. I'll combine a couple of these and I'll share some of that wisdom with you. But send me an email, james@wbap.com. Most people send me Facebook messages. That's cool too. Just however you get it to me. Just what do I need to know? Like if Robert Duvall knew that he was going to die today, wouldn't he have got on the phone and told a whole bunch of people some stuff yesterday? Wouldn't he have called into radio shows and TV shows? You're smart. I love, that was the really cool thing about the last year of Scott Adams, the guy who created Dilbert. He got a terminal cancer diagnosis and he'd already been an online influencer, but he got real existential. When he knew his days were numbered, he changed. And the stuff he was saying, it was still being funny and still being Scott Adams. It was very profound. And I think you get like this moment of clarity when you know that you're about to get off of this merry-go-round. And you see things that we don't. And I would like to know what they are. Send me an email. If you can make it short, call in, but I doubt it. James@wbap.com. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith. The latest on the Samantha Guthrie mom kidnapping case, and it just keeps looking worse and worse. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. All right, we're going to get you caught up on the latest on the Guthrie case in one segment. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. This is WFAA Summary.
Now to the latest in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Her daughter, Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, issued another emotional plea asking for her mother's safe return.
And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing.
Nancy Guthrie taken from her Tucson, Arizona home 15 days ago. Investigators say they're waiting for DNA results on a glove found near the scene, similar to one seen on a man recorded on this doorbell surveillance video from Nancy Guthrie's home.
POTUS is our database, and that's the one that all the states contribute to. And if you're arrested, your DNA is in the database. However, there are other methods, and that one of them can be forensic genetic genealogy. Unfortunately, that takes a while to be able to use that.
Investigators say their focus is no longer on the family or two different men detained last week.
All right, that's the update. My guest, Betsy Bretner-Smith from National Police Organization. Now, Betsy, so are they not looking at the son-in-law anymore? Savannah Guthrie's brother-in-law? Association, sorry. Right. Well, the other new piece of the story that we have since we last talked last week was the video that Savannah Guthrie put out on Instagram yesterday. You know, I'm not a body language expert, but she just looked totally defeated. You can't help but just have your heart break when you watch that. Oh, do explain that she's not roping in the siblings anymore? We're talking with Sergeant Betsy Brantner-Smith, National Police Association, and she's actually on the ground. This is all happening miles away from your house. Have you seen this new scanner technique they're using? Where was this a low-flying helicopter trying to pick up the Bluetooth? Right. Well, Betsy, helicopter seems kind of an overkill. If you have one of these scanners, couldn't you put it on an unmanned drone and save a bunch of money? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to look into that. Well, thanks for sharing the new tech with us. And that is funny. If you're looking for a pacemaker in Arizona, it probably lights up the map like a Christmas tree. Right. I am not the person with law enforcement experience, but my hope that she's going to be found alive is almost down to zero. All right, Betsy, as a representative of the National Police Association, how bothered are you by the videos of the people tormenting ICE and other, law enforcement officers during these deportations? Yeah, and that's what we're going to be talking about next. I have some viral videos of a lady berating some ICE officers, and there's a reason it's going viral. Thank you very much, Betsy Brantner Smith, nationalpolice.org. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, homeowners, James Parker here for Rhino Shield. If you are about to build a house and you are putting the finishing touches on it, like you know what color it wants to be, so it's time to go pick out the color, whatever color you think you want, Rhino Shield can do it. It is not limited by color. This is one of the things they've mastered. It's like a JPEG. They can do 4 million colors. Actually, Gary said that I think the number is 4 million colors. is what Rhino Shield can do. And you can just make up a color and they'll do it. It's like, I want my house to look like pond water. I want my house to look like melted butter. They can do it. They'll figure it out. They'll sit down with you. And the cool part is when you go to rhinoshielddfw.com and get Gary to come out, he's not going to sell you a paint job. He's first going to explain what this is, because it's not paint. It really is something different. And then he's going to explain how they have to sort of seal up your home, and they sort of make it airtight almost. And it's a whole process, but that's what Gary does. He comes out and explains to you the process, because it's two things: how they prep the house, and then what the actual technology is. It's a two-part primer and coating. And then you have enough information to make a decision on whether or not you'd like to go forward. If you want a little bit of a discount, mention the James Show. He'll knock 15% off till further notice. And if you'd like, they can set you up with monthly payments. So even if you don't have the money right now, you don't have to go take out a loan for somewhere else. They'll get the financing worked out for you. So go to rhinoshielddfw.com. Hey there. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. So these people that run around following ICE agents, one of the problems that you have with it is, they're just trying to enforce the law, and they're not picking up random people just yet. When they're doing these raids, they're targeting people who are already on a list, usually with some sort of criminality to it. Now, some of it's violent crime, some of it's rape, some of it's child stuff, some of it's fraud, burglary, robbery, all kinds of. It's a nice little list of people that we should all agree need to leave the country, need to be taken out of society, whether they're legal or illegal. So it's been really weird that, they didn't go protest and follow around ICE when Obama was deporting people or when Biden deported people the few times that he did. They're doing it now. And do they not get that they're protecting like rapists and murderers and drug traffickers and human traffickers? And so this latest viral video here, the lady has a couple of gaffes, a couple of points of interest. Number one, she calls a Hispanic ICE officer a race traitor. Yikes. She's a white woman. And then secondly, when they say, you're interrupting us from getting a child rapist and a murderer, do you not care? She says, I don't care. Okay, I'll let you hear it yourself. I even left some of the lead up in there so you know that they were just running her license and they know who she is and how the conversation escalated to that.
This isn't where I live. That's fine, but this isn't where I live.
Do your parents still pay all your bills?
No.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
If my parents paid all my bills,
We just want to make sure you got home.
this isn't where I live.
It's okay, Olivia. We appreciate it.
You can go talk to them. This isn't where I live.
So if this is not where your vehicle's registered, you might want to look that up with their state.
It is, buddy. My address is correct on my ID and where my car is registered.
Okay.
Good try, though.
All right. Thanks, Olivia.
Do you feel strong or what?
We're good. Have a great day, okay?
I'll keep following you, okay?
Oh, no, she doesn't care. It's all right. No, come on. She doesn't care? She doesn't care. They never do.
How does it feel to be a race traitor?
We were trying to get a child molester, right?
No, you weren't.
Yes, we were.
How would you know?
Because it was a woman you talked to.
His wife?
And then his plate came back as murder.
Also, I just want to say, calling someone a race traitor,
But you guys don't care.
I hope you realize that is the most racist thing you can say as a white
incredible.
woman.
Of course,
And
it
just
is.
so you know, this isn't a good look for you.
You think I care about my look.
No, trust me.
When you guys
It
are-
is evident by how you look, you don't care. We get that, trust me. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying this, trying to be a social warrior. If you actually cared, you probably would care about the child who got raped and also the person who got murdered by the person that we were looking for. But see, you don't care.
No, I don't care because you guys
Thank
try.
you. Thank you.
just
Yeah,
try
there
to
you go.
detain legal immigrants. None of you actually give a
Yeah, I had to cut it off there because she said a cuss word. But this is amazing how just the selective outrage on race. Remember, it was just a week ago when people were falling all over the floor, sending me angry emails. You got to denounce Trump. He sent out a racist video. Oh, really? You're just incensed anytime someone's racist? Oh, no, it's just you hate Trump and this is going to make him look bad. But you'll ignore this. You'll ignore last week when another ICE protester called a black ICE agent a house N-word twice in the same little exchange here.
Like we should rip people apart from their families?
Are you a man?
Wow, is that a question? Wow.
Sir, I need to move forward.
There you go. Is that a good look for them? Does that help? See, this is what Betsy Brantner Smith was talking about in the last segment. Just these people are allowed to be abusive like that. And look, it's your right to say angry things to cops and call them terrible names. But we still know that you're a bad person. I mean, we still know that this is what you do with your life. And you're just a pawn of somebody else. This isn't a thought you had on your own. You didn't go protest when 5 million people were deported under Obama. You're just upset because the TV told you to, because social media told you to, because people around you told you to. Let's talk to Ron and Garland. Hey, Ron and Garland, you're on WBAP.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Ron.
Just real quick, Man, you have really got to have some really good patience. I mean, I hats off to these ice people. Good Lord. I mean, for people to get up and spit in your face, man, we would have took them out in a heartbeat. You know, spitting on them, throwing stuff at them. You know, and then they want to talk about Barack Obama and Biden and all of them. They cleared a lot of aliens out back then. Yep, they didn't have goddamn freaking nutcases knocking down their door every goddamn 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
I don't know why they're this nice, Ron. I would be okay if they said anybody who shows up at one of our raids and blows a whistle, you're getting arrested. You're obviously impeding. It's not like you were just refereeing a volleyball game next door and ICE ran up on you. But if you're obviously impeding, trying to impede a law enforcement officer in the execution of their duties, just enforcing the law, we should actually just be enforcing the law against these people. They're getting special privileges. The problem is if ICE is going to start doing that, then they're going to bring in like 1,000 people, and the politics of that are a problem. So the heckler's veto is working, Ron. They're getting special treatment. If you go blow a whistle in a cop's face, you'd probably just get arrested immediately. You know, if you said this to a cop, you'd probably get arrested. They're getting special treatment, and it's all for politics.
Back in our day, man, we'd be spitting out teeth. Yeah, you come from East Texas yourself. You're a country boy, right?
Yeah, you're not from Garland, Ron?
I am, yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm just kind of I don't know.
Well, I mean, I was raised in the country more or less. You know,
we hear that. We hear that. But listen, Ron, there's almost a good case to be made for bullies because a lot of these people, you can tell they just haven't been punched in the face. One of the reasons I don't run my mouth is because when I was a kid, I ran my mouth in front of the wrong person and I got punched in the face. Deservedly so. You know, you try and show out and act like you're a big person and you're just a jerk. Eventually, there's going to be negative consequences. Eventually, you're going to come across a person who's not a good Christian that can turn the other cheek. Sometimes you're going to get headbutted in the face at a Deftones concert, just hypothetically speaking. 800-288-9227. I'll play you a good Ice Patrol parody coming up next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Kind of marveling at the terrible treatment of ICE agents just doing their job. I get it. You don't like cops. You wanted to defund the police 5 years ago. Now you want to defund ICE and police are good and whatever. I have a fun little parody to play for you. Because these in the last segment I was playing you, if you're just joining us, some ICE protesters, they like to film themselves and put themselves on TikTok, harassing ICE officers. There's a great parody where they're making fun of them, but they don't get called the N-word. They don't get called house N-words, so that's pretty good. Also, they don't get accused of being race traitors, but you'll hear that after I talk to Kurt in Dallas. Hey, Kurt.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me on. I wanted to say that I'm actually running for Texas District 33. I'm also a former police officer, and I don't know if people know this, but we have over 200 agencies in Texas alone that have taken the 287G training.
I don't know what that is, dude.
It goes on for customs and just the whole immigration stuff. And I think it's necessary, and it keeps our law enforcement, ICE, and everybody on track. We need them. They're not here to hurt anybody. They're here to protect us. And I think anybody that gets in the way, they should be arrested and dealt with accordingly.
Yeah, I think almost everyone agrees with that. In fact, it's one of the few things we do agree on. Deportations and voter ID are both north of 70%, even by Democrat standards. And it's 80% by the population as a whole. 95% of Republicans want voter ID. And I think, 76% of Democrats in the last Pew poll that we were talking about on Friday, I think it was. All right, Kurt.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how to fix it, though. I mean, they're not listening to this show. So let me play you this parody. His name is Jay Carsini. And it's funny because, thank you, Kurt. He's a little overweight and he's dressed goofy and he's looks like he's never lifted a weight in his life. So there's a little self-deprecation in here, but you can tell what's going on.
Just driving through my neighborhood, looking for ICE agents, trying to do my part, trying to protect my illegal criminal fellow human beings safe from ICE. Because this is ridiculous what's going on. Oh, what is this? We have an ICE agent here. Get my whistle ready. ICE! ICE! Run for your life! Run! ICE is here, everybody! ICE! I think we scared him away. We did it! I'm a hero!
I'm a hero. I love that. All right, that's hilarious because the guy, pulled it off, and it's a great summary, but it's based in truth. And the truth isn't hateful. It's kind of sympathetic. It's crazy how they turn a microphone and point at you and say that you're a racist, sexist, bigot, and homophobe, Nazi, literally Hitler. And what do we say about you? You need to stop listening to people on TV. This is like your life's purpose now. This is your religion. Because this is why they do it. They don't do it because they hate you or they hate me or they think that they're doing good. They've been convinced that they're doing good, but also this gives their life purpose. I feel bad speculating about Renee Good, but she seemed to be a woman who had what a lot of us had, some rough patches. She had a divorce. She had some kids from that previous divorce that she didn't have custody with. She got remarried. She had a kid. That guy ended up dying on her. Whatever the circumstances are around that, this woman has had a rough life. And now she's in a lesbian relationship with the one kid she does have custody of. And she's now moved to another state and she's part of this ICE tracking group. So she drops off her kids and let's go harass ICE officers all day. And that's been her bit. And a lot of people have found purpose. A lot of people have, found a reason, to give their life meaning. And they substitute what a lot of us fill with other things. A lot of us, it's their career. For a lot of us, it's our religion. For a lot of us, it's our, relationships, or maybe a relationship with one person kind of fills that hole in your void. But that void in your hole, I said it backwards. But for some people, they seem to have filled that void with politics. And, right or left, it can have ugly results. But when it gets you killed, you're dying for this cause? I think that's a lot of what he's making fun of is this, this isn't what you should be doing with your life. I'm going to run around and blow a whistle at ICE cops and now I'm a hero. I don't know. It's bizarre. It's bizarre to watch because you and I don't understand it. All right. Hey, the next Park Report is coming up this Thursday. We're going to be at Whiskey and Rye Bar. It's at the bottom of the Omni Fort Worth Hotel, right across the street from the Fort Worth Convention Center. And it's that cool building that has the sharp edges with the balconies that stick out and come to a point. Kind of, you can see it from the highway easy. So yeah, come on down. So there's going to be a couple reasons I'm getting you out there. Number one, I'm doing a live show from 2 to 5. And it's not going to be crowded with a bunch of cheer moms this time, although I kind of like that. We're going to have the bar pretty much to ourselves, and we're going to do 2 rounds of trivia, one at 5:30, one at 6:30. So if you work anywhere near downtown Fort Worth and you don't get off till 5, then come on down. We'll start a round of trivia for you. If you can't make it until later, if you have to drive in from somewhere else, like a Grand Prairie or a Mesquite or the Colony, see if you can make it by 6:30 and catch the second round of trivia. I'll have prizes for both. But anyway, you can make it out. Look, if you can ditch work a little early on Thursday and come out and say hi, that'd be super cool. On all the commercial breaks, I get to talk to people. I'd be happy to meet you. And you can judge me based on my appearance. We'll take a selfie. You can flip me off if you want. It'll be a good time. So the Whiskey and Rye, Omni Fort Worth Hotel, this coming Thursday. Live show. And then trivia afterwards at 5:30 and 6:30, hosted by me. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Let me readjust what I was doing here. So we have new info on the Guthrie situation. A fourth email has been sent to the FBI, and we now think she's in Mexico. I did see that. You got a sec? Could I talk? Could you patch in Kim real quick? So, yeah, I saw that on my Fox News screen that the police have cleared all the family members, and it said family members, siblings, and spouses. Do I have that correct? Okay, so brother-in-law Tommaso, his name has been cleared. That's kind of what I was thinking. Because, well, then again, like, is she really in Mexico? Because if she really is in Mexico, doesn't that clear him? Or did he work with the cartel? Or did he hire someone from... Kimberly James, what is your answer for TMZ being the conduit for all of this? Sure. So we're awaiting DNA results. We have the scanning helicopter still up there. Do you think she's really in Mexico? Day 3? Yeah, I understand why you don't do that on day 1 or maybe even day 2. Maybe wait 48, 72 hours. But yeah, why are we waiting until the 3rd week here? All right. Well, thank you for the latest update there. I didn't hear it until your newscast, so you got me all caught up. Wow, I know. I've been doing an excellent radio show over here, though, so I missed some of the new stuff. All right. One of the big debates going on right now is voter ID. The SAVE Act, it worked its way through the House, is now being debated by the Senate. I don't know if it's going to pass. I mean, I expect it to pass. 80% of America wants it to pass. 83% of America wants it to pass. 76% of Democrats say they want a voter ID law. Now, a lot of them will do the nuance saying, well, yeah, I want voter ID, but not this one. But that's not what the political bettors are saying. Chuck Schumer saying this is Jim Crow 2.0.
What they are proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0. They make it so hard to get any kind of voter ID that more than 20 million legitimate people, mainly poorer people and people of color, will not be able to vote under this law. We will not let it pass in the Senate. We are fighting it tooth and nail. It's an outrageous proposal that is, that shows the sort of political bias of the MAGA right. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want people of color to vote because they often don't vote for them.
I find this exhausting. You're a bad person because you want voter ID. Meanwhile, about half of the states and most of the developed countries that actually have elections have voter ID laws. Are we all just racist? I mean, is that legit for 5 seconds? Aren't you tired of being called racist for everything? I want to enforce our immigration law. Oh, you must be racist. I want voter ID. Oh, you must be racist. I want to appeal Obamacare. Oh, you must be racist. I want to get rid of food stamps. Oh, you must be racist. I get it. You don't want to actually have to debate me on the merits of my proposal, so you just call me racist and you dismiss me. I got it. But just like when he said 2 weeks ago that this is Jim Crow 2.0. No, it's not, Chuck Schumer, because if it was Jim Crow, the Democrats would support it. He's also fighting ICE at polls. That's one of the things the Democrats want. They want to insist that ICE not be allowed to be at polls. Why? Well, because they're going to intimidate voters. Well, who is intimidated by ICE that's here legally? I don't understand. You're saying we're not trying to get illegal immigrants to vote. We just don't want you to enforce laws against illegal immigrations at the polls?
That's a lot of bull. They show no evidence of voter fraud. They show there's so little in the country. And to have ICE agents, these thugs, be by the polling places, That just flies in the face of how democracy works, of how we've had elections for hundreds of years, very successfully. It makes no sense at all. And we will, in our legislation, we say that ICE agents should not be anywhere near polling places.
If you're not cheating, then what are you worried about? What voter integrity laws could we pass that you wouldn't call racist? Is there? Can you name it? Is there y'all want any kind of oversight or regulation or proof that you're not stealing it? Yeah, we just turned off the lights and we put up plywood over the windows in the middle of the night. Big deal. Kamala Harris explained why she's against voter ID.
Is agreeing to voter ID one of those compromises that you'd support? I don't think that we should underestimate what that could mean. Because in some people's mind, that means, well, you're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove you are who you are. Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't. There's no Kinko's, there's no Office Max near them. People have to understand that when we're talking about voter ID laws, be clear about who you have in mind and what would be required of them to prove who they are. Of course, people have to prove who they are, but not in a way that makes it almost impossible for them to prove who they are.
You know, if that was the case, couldn't you look at the 14 states that already have their laws written in this way and see when they enacted this law? Because Alabama did it. They passed the law in, I think it was 2011, and the law went into effect for the 2014 election. And they were saying similar things. Voter ID is going to disenfranchise black voters and women who've married and changed their name. Well, turnout went up in both of those categories. You know, it's always about these predictions that are supposed to be so scary. And if they're always doing predictions about the future, it can't be disproven. You need to be super skeptical of that. Just like you need to be super skeptical of all these global warming predictions. You should be able to look back and say 20 years ago, Inconvenient Truth came out. Let's talk about those predictions. How many of them came to pass? How many of them have fallen flat on their face? I don't know. Did we have more major hurricanes making landfall than ever before? Or was in 2025, it was 0 major hurricanes made landfall? In fact, we only had 3 make landfall at all in the United States. Is this the apocalyptic hellscape you were promised? Do we still have snows on the top of Mount Kilimanjaro? Yes. Do we still have glaciers at Glacier National Park in Montana? Yes. Do we still have polar bears? Yes. Their population's bigger than when the movie came out. So just like they got everything wrong about all their predictions, inflation's transitory. If you like your doctor, you can keep it. Biden's sharp as a tack. This whole voter ID is just today's lie. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. More on the SAVE Act and really the debate around the SAVE Act. How do they pretend like this is a bad idea? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Is voter ID racist? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. It seems hard to say it's racist because when you look at all the countries that have it, a lot of them are pretty monolithic. You know, they have voter ID in Poland. Poland's like 99% Polish. Against whom would it be racist? How does it work over there? It's the same sort of call that gets people's attention, and they're going to keep doing this as long as it works. And I got to tell you, it still works on some people. There's 17% of this country that doesn't want voter ID. And it's kind of maddening because when you turn on CNN, 0% of their people want voter ID. It's like, how are you digging through not just half of the country that thinks this way? 17% of the country believes this, but 100% of the CNN staff believes it. What's going on there? Steve in Weatherford, you're on WBAP. Hey, Steve.
Hey, James. I think we need to make it where if you get 1 red cent of government entitlement, you have to have a photo ID.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people say that. I think that would be better than what we have now, but I'm a guy who wants to get rid of all entitlements, period. So we wouldn't even have this problem under the Parker preference. So I think that's not a step far. I agree with what you're saying, but that's not nearly far enough in my book.
Well, that'll make them show up to vote with a photo ID. They want their M&Ms.
They're M&Ms. Oh, okay, that's funny. All right, good call. I like Stephen Weatherford. You know, that should be the bare minimum, the absolute bare minimum. You know, Rush Limbaugh used to do the immigration laws. His proposal. Let me play you that one real quick because this is kind of brilliant in the way it's really hard to argue with this.
Everybody's making immigration proposals these days. Let me add mine to the mix. Call it the Limbaugh laws. First, you immigrate to our country, you have to speak the native language. You have to be a professional or an investor. No unskilled workers allowed. Also, there'll be no special bilingual programs in the schools with the Limbaugh laws, no special ballots for elections, no government business will be conducted in your language. Foreigners will not have the right to vote or hold political office. If you're in our country, you cannot be a burden to taxpayers. You are not entitled to welfare or food stamps or other government goodies. You can come if you invest here, an amount equal to 40,000 times a daily minimum wage. If not, stay home. But if you want to buy land, it'll be restricted. No waterfront, for instance, and as a foreigner, you have to relinquish individual rights to the property. And another thing, you don't have the right to protest. You're allowed no demonstrations, no foreign flag waving, no political organizing, no bad-mouthing our president or his policies. You're a foreigner. Shut your mouth or get out. And if you come here illegally, you're going to jail. Now, you think the Limbaugh laws are harsh? Well, every one of the laws I just mentioned are actual laws of Mexico today. That's how the Mexican government handles immigrants to their country.
Yeah, but somehow that's racist against Mexicans, I suppose. So, yeah, that's the Limbaugh laws on immigration. He just reiterated what Mexico's laws on immigration are. He just reiterated what most countries' laws on immigration are. Are we the only people that's not allowed to enforce our own border? And look, it's fun to hear the back and forth because this isn't a losable argument. The people that are arguing against this, they're really grasping at straws. And Scott Jennings demonstrated that the last, Thursday on CNN. He's one guy, and they somehow found a table of 4 other people, Scott Jennings and 4 other people. And the 4 other people are part of the minuscule minority of a minority of a minority who don't agree with voter ID laws, yet it's presented on CNN like it's a 4-to-1 majority opinion.
What voting rights is he taking away from black voters?
Oh, if we look at
the SAVE Act?
The SAVE Act, that's exactly what we're talking about. That is actually going to continue to disenfranchise overwhelmingly a lot of people of color. There are so many civil rights organizations that have run the data. If we look at the way that it is going to disenfranchise black voters, it's the same reason why Chuck Schumer called it Jim Crow 2.0.
So,
this is the same president. If we want to continue...
You haven't said how yet.
I am talking about it. It's the way that you're putting new polls...
Dude, we are 30 seconds into this, and all Jennings has had to say is how. And there's a verbal dance that comes after that, but she doesn't say how. She just, they've been trained. This is what college trains some of these people to do. It takes people who are below average intelligence and teaches them a way of speaking that is almost passable to people who don't know any better. To other below average intelligence people, I think they think this sounds smart. You know, like if you're used to watching Paw Patrol and then you watch Animaniacs, you're like, oh, this is really smart.
Taxes on this when you're making people have. That's what we can call them now. It's kind of an idiom, right? If you want to say that people have to prove that they are citizens, that they have to prove with a voter ID. The reality is you're layering what is a constitutional right for the American people.
Don't you love it's a poll tax to get an ID? That counts as a poll tax. Why? Well, because you have to have your ID to vote. Well, yeah, you also have to wear clothes when you go vote. Is buying clothes, is that a poll tax too? I mean, these are all just such infinite stretches here.
And making it harder for people to vote in this country, and it's going to disenfranchise Black voters.
Concern you that you're making all these claims? You've yet to lay out how it's hurting anyone, but 76% of Black voters think we should show an ID to vote. 80% of Hispanic voters, 83% of the American people. Are you saying that Black voters are too dumb to know what's good for them? I mean, it sounds pretty condescending to me.
That's
you get three-quarters of Black voters who want voter ID.
But to be clear, the SAVE Act is not just about.
I just love that. Well, I could listen to that for a straight half hour would be fine by me. Coming up next, halal foods. Muslim foods are now being offered in Texas public schools. Find out where and how bad it is already. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Should we be allowing halal foods in Texas public schools? Well, if you say no, you're too late. It's already happening. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Sorry for the people who listen all day because I talked about this when I was doing the morning shift today, but just had the phones burning up. If you haven't heard this yet, here's a report. The online local journalist, independent journalist is Ann of the West, who also weaves in some news reports here. But did you know that they're having Muslim-specific menus in North Texas schools right now?
Okay, we need to talk about halal because they are increasingly trying to sneak halal foods into our kids' public schools. Did you know that in Dearborn, Michigan, the only option available to public school students for meat is halal certified? That means that the animals have been slaughtered facing Mecca in an Islamic ritual with Islamic prayers being said over them.
In the school menu at Dearborn Public Schools is generating a side dish controversy.
The district now serves only halal meats that are permissible according to Islamic law.
Inside Dearborn Public Schools cafeterias, students have a variety of options. But when it comes to lunch items like cheeseburgers and chicken nuggets, here at this middle school, for instance, the meat is 100% halal.
But it's not just Dearborn. Last night, Amy Mack reported on X that they're trying to introduce halal foods into Wiley, Texas schools. That's the same school district where they were just caught sneaking in World Hijab Day without letting the parents know about it. This is also the case in Portland, Maine, which began growing its Somali population less than 25 years ago. And check out the town next to Dearborn here.
We now have over 50% of our students that are Arabic and practice the Muslim religion. We had no halal items on the menu when I started in 2022, and by the fall of 2023, we decided to start adding some halal items.
I'm going to repeat, halal meat is slaughtered in an Islamic ritual with the animals facing Mecca while somebody says Islamic prayers over them. And this is how it starts. Dearborn schools are like 50 to 55% Muslim, yet now all the meat has to be halal certified. They claim that the non-halal options are not cost-effective because they can cross-contaminate the Islamic slaughtered meat. No, really, that's what they're actually claiming. And then before you know it, you've got halal introduced into every school that has even a single Muslim student, and your taxpayer funds are now being used, just like the jizya tax, to fund Islamic institutions, Islamic candidates, Islamic businesses, Islamic rituals, and to further the advance of Islam in your own country and in your own public schools.
How you like that? Your tax dollars are funding Muslim-specific religious ordained lunch options in public schools. How does that make you feel? You like that? You like going to work? You're probably at work right now. You put in 40, 50, some of us 60 hours a week. They end up taking more than 40% of your paycheck. And what do? They fight if you want to put the 10 Commandments in your classroom, or God forbid, even have a football coach pray on the football field after a football game on a Friday night. That's just an intolerable overlap of church and state. There's supposed to be a strict separation of church and state. We can't have any references to the Bible in our curriculum. Are you crazy? Well, what about Muslims and halal food? Yeah, bring it on. Come on, we'll set up a table where we hand out headscarves to the children. And look, one of the things that we've lost in the expanding mandate that we've given our federal government, it wasn't supposed to do anything it wasn't supposed to take care of your education. It wasn't supposed to take care of your health care. It was never intended to give you public transportation or most of the stuff that it does now. It wasn't there for Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. None of that was part of it. The main drive was for two things. Number one, protect you from external threats, the military, and then protect your liberties from internal threats. That's the court system, and also a system of laws where you punish people or stop people from violating your rights. Now, we understand that in many aspects, people that violate your private property rights when they steal your car or when they break into your house, people that your personal liberties when they punch you in the face or they set you on fire in a train. But there's also the threat that comes from a group of people who have demonstrated that once they become a significant minority, especially a majority, everyone's rights are at stake. Everyone's rights diminish. The federal government is supposed to prevent this from happening. They're supposed to prevent an alternative system of courts, like Sharia courts. And it's not Sharia specific. If other religions were doing this, I'd have a problem with it too. But, when kosher people, when Jewish people want to have kosher food, they don't make your entire school go kosher, do they? When Amish people just want to be left the hell alone and they don't want to use electricity. They're not trying to cut your electricity off, are they? And there's been a 100% correlation between Muslims becoming the dominant culture in a society and personal rights being diminished. And if we don't have the right to push back against that, then what the hell is all this for? DART? Why are we doing all this? Why are we taking 40% of your income? Taxing you to death, taxing you when you get paid, taxing you when you spend the money, taxing the property that you sleep on, taxing the car that you drive, taxing the gas that runs the car. And they have no interest in protecting your rights. It seems like their interest is taking money from you and giving it to someone else in exchange for votes. How do you feel about halal options being presented at your kids' cafeteria in public schools? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. This isn't the first offense that we've had from this specific high school just in the last 2 weeks. I'll remind you about the stories we talked about last week next on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker, and we're talking about halal menu options now being served in Texas public schools. We know of at least one, and it just so happens to be the exact same school where, I guess this was now 2 weeks ago, we heard about the table that was set up where they were handing out Qurans and pamphlets on how to choose Islam, how to be a Muslim, how to convert to Islam, and they're handing out headscarves for the women so we can practice feminine oppression. Isn't that hilarious?
Hello, tell me the story. What happened today at school?
Okay, so I'm Marco. I'm the president of the High School Republicans at Wiley East High School. And today there was an organization called Why Islam that had a huge table booth in the front of our school today, and they were giving hijabs to girls out throughout the high school, and they were giving out Qurans, and they also had pamphlets about Sharia law and other Islamic things.
So, same high school. Sounds like they have a problem. Who's the principal over there? Shouldn't we like protest and have like some sort of squad that just descends on the administration and forces someone to be held accountable for this? Or we just let it happen? This is Ronnie and Graham. You're on WBAP. Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, now, what are we doing? Why are we so soft all of a sudden? Why are we bending over backwards to please all these illegals? Why are we giving them all these tax dollars? And who's slaughtering these animals, this halal, whatever it is? Who's doing it? They doing it behind the school on an altar?
No, they're buying it from companies.
I don't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah, they're buying it from companies who do that. Yeah,
we're buying it, right? We're buying it.
That's
My
a good
tax
point.
dollars,
You're
your
buying
tax
it,
dollars.
Ronnie. That's right. You're
And
buying
it's
it.
probably twice as much as whatever. I don't know where they get their meat at. Whatever they get.
Well, it ain't cheaper.
No, it can't be. And why? And this is a Christian country. Why does everybody act like this is normal? Not everybody, but you know what I'm saying. Why is it in one school, much less several states?
Look, I don't know why, if you're going to try and choose a culture to supplant the native culture, you would choose one that oppresses gays and women and, just all kinds of, and civil rights that we enjoy now. Why would you choose one that gives you less rights? Why would you choose one that encourages rape? Like, do you remember the rape guys? I don't know if you heard this. I've played it a few times. Listen to this.
You rape girls?
Some of us, yeah, some of us.
Do you know how many times you've done that? How many times have you raped girls?
I did it maybe 2 or 3 times. I did it once.
I did it 4 times. One of us pretends as if...
yeah, and then they give the instructions on how they just run around raping chicks. Whatever culture that is, let's not import that. Can we just start there, Ronnie?
Right. And what would they do if you were in their country to you? What rights would you have, much less be allowed to walk down the street holding your head up, sending your kids to their school if you so wanted to, if you're that stupid? I'm sorry, but I don't get it. I don't understand what we're doing.
So
they want to live here, come here legally, indoctrinate, speak English. You don't have to eat ham if you don't want to, but don't force your food on my kids, my grandkids anyway. I'm from the 60s. If this would have happened when I was in high school, I promise you, it would have been, we wouldn't have allowed it. We wouldn't have allowed it. If that kid was talking about they're setting up tables and putting all that stuff out there, I'm going to tell you, me and the other boys, that stuff would have been just thrown out in the parking lot. It would have never happened.
Right. I can't believe
but now you go to jail for that.
The lady that is in charge of Wiley East High School, according to what people are passing around on Facebook, I just have a cursory knowledge of what's going on over there. She seems to be one of these leftists that's sort of feminist, like Me Too and hanging up the rainbow flag and I'm so inclusive and whatnot. And so, well, why are you embracing? Why are Christians bad guys? But the religion that absolutely oppresses women as part of their standard fare, you have to run around in a headscarf, even when it's 104 degrees in August, and they're on their side.
And they can rape you at will, obviously.
Yeah, they're the pro-rape people. They chunk gays off of buildings. They make women wear headscarves. And they were trying to and thank you very much for your call, Ronnie and Graham. One of the weird proposals that flew across my Twitter, it was reported in the Daily Mail that one of the advisors to Mom Donnie, she's one of the Muslim groups that campaigned for him and helped him get elected. They have a proposal to ban dogs being indoors because it's unclean according to their religion. They want to ban dogs as pets in New York City. And they just got in power like last month. Any culture that's anti-dog is suspicious to me. Any culture that is anti-bikini is suspicious to me. You want to outlaw the bikini? That's like the greatest invention of mankind. It's like it's probably above penicillin in the greatest inventions of mankind. And you're against that? You're against dogs, which not an invention, but one of the greatest. I mean, just how much do you love your dogs? How much have dogs added to your life? Wasn't your best friend growing up a dog? Some of you sleep with dogs tonight. Strange stuff going on. But yeah, halal foods, it's already here. And then you got to turn on, go on social media, look at some other leftist influencers. And what are they saying here after all that? After they see Muslims sawing off heads on viral videos, throwing gays off of buildings, oppressing women, beating the crap out of your wife with a stick, which is legal in their religion. What do we have to hear about Christians? Here's Jennifer Welch.
White evangelical Christianity is a cancer. These are the worst people in our country because they use their religion in two ways, as a weapon and as a shield.
We don't throw gays off of buildings. We don't oppress women and make them wear a hijab when it's 104 degrees outside in August. We let them wear the bathing suit of their choice. We don't hit them with sticks. We don't rape them. We don't have the rape crew over here. Well, do you rape girls? Yeah, heck yeah, we rape girls. What do you think?
You rape girls?
Some of us, yeah.
Yeah, some of us. Yeah, well, then, yeah, but we're the bad guys. Michael in Fort Worth, you're on WBAP.
Hi, I was just called to say that don't the Muslims that live over here have to abide by American laws? That's point one.
Okay.
And two, can you work in y'all's comments about Muslims and the schools and providing them food? Can y'all reconcile that with the Constitution?
Well, the Constitution's kind of silent on that, and the fact that we're not supposed to have public schools and we're not supposed to be participating in that. Also, the Constitution barely touches this because it's more of a state and local function anyway. Now, constitutionally speaking, I think the Constitution is pretty clear that we're not supposed to be funding public schools. Now, if we took it away at this federal level, I think we would still have this problem unless we're willing to get rid of public schools altogether, which I am, but I think me and about 4 other people are on board with that. So no, as long as we're going to have public schools, we're going to have the fight over which society and which person's menu is going to be dominant.
But what about the freedom of religion as far as the Constitution and their being able to exercise their freedom of religion?
Well, again, the problem with that comes in if we have public schools and this is going to be a lunch that is provided at taxpayer expense, there's going to be people who point at the separation of church and state fantasy that they want. So, Michael, there's not really a good answer for this. You know exactly what this is, because it would make more sense and you would actually have something to debate if they were consistent in this. If these were people who were saying, well, yeah, we can have halal food. We allow the 10 Commandments to be hung in classrooms. We allow the Bible to be taught in class. Why can't we have halal options on the menu? Then they would have an argument. But the inconsistency here, what do you even argue against, Michael? They have anti-Christian policies, pro-Muslim policies. There's no consistency on the constitutionality of religion in schools.
Okay, I think you assumed that I was pro-anti-Christian policies.
No. You were just the focus of my existing ire, Michael. I think.
Gotcha.
I think we both understand each other at this point, and you're making a good point. That because there's not really anything to argue against because they're taking such disparate positions when it comes to religion in the classroom, when it comes to religion in public schools. So, thank you, sir. Good call.
All right. Thanks.
All right. I'm going to play this clip from Antonin Scalia in 2006, talking about how diversity is called a strength, but it's not necessarily a strength in all cases.
Diversity alone is not what makes a great nation. I mean, diversity alone makes some of the tribal societies of the world that never quite make it, such as some of the places in the Middle East where we're trying to establish nationhood. As I said earlier, it's part of our tradition that everybody can be an American. But there has been a common culture. Yeah, you don't have to belong to it, but there has been that. And
what is it? What is it? What is it?
Well, okay, you want to know what it is, number one? Okay.
Is there a bond? Is there a common culture?
I think, let me tell you a story. My junior year of college, I studied in Switzerland, and I used to get really annoyed when the French-Swiss professors I had would refer constantly to les pays anglo-saxons, the Anglo-Saxon countries, meaning England, the United States, Australia, New Zealand, okay, Canada. I said, hey, my name is Scalia, and I'm as American as anybody. Look at this face. Is this an Anglo-Saxon face? I had never been in England, but at the end of my year, I went to England and I felt at home. There is no doubt that American culture, American common culture, which nobody has to belong to, originates with English culture. And that includes Shakespeare, it includes nursery rhymes that we all know and that we use as examples. That's our common culture. And I think the framers recognized that. Diversity's fine, but diversity does not make a nation.
800-288-9227. Your thoughts on halal foods now already in Texas public schools. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. We're talking about halal foods now being offered in some public schools here in Texas, and I thought there was supposed to be a separation of church and state. Where are all these people? Well, the people who are leading the parade and the charge against any semblance of your religion being in classrooms are the ones that are ushering some other religion in, which should tick you off a little bit, because now you know that their reticence, their hesitance, their pushback against the Bible being included in curriculum, or prayer in schools, or prayer in the football field, at midfield after the game, they're not actually on some constitutional principle. Well, hey, we need a separation of church and state. No, that's just regular old anti-Christian bigotry. We don't even have a word for it, though, do we? How do you feel about halal foods being offered in your kids' schools at your expense? Jennifer Burleson, you're on WBAP.
Hey, so my thing on this is the whole TPUSA thing, where like it's a voluntary thing at schools and all that stuff, and everyone is in an uproar over that. And this is okay. This is part of school, correct? I mean, I don't understand.
Meaning it's not an extracurricular activity, right? That is part of the complaint.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's the thing. I just don't understand how this is okay. And then my other issue about the dogs, about them saying you can't have an indoor pet, that better never happen around me, because I'll pick a dog over a human, you know?
Okay, so Jennifer, look, there are no inconsistencies. If the facts don't match up with the worldview, then you have to change your worldview. So if you notice an inconsistency where, well, they said they're for separation of church and state when they oppose the Bible being included in curriculum, or when they oppose the 10 Commandments being put on the wall on a poster. So I guess the truth really is they're not against the separation of church and state. They just are
not
anti-Christian.
They are. And I mean, it's clear. It's been clear for quite some time how they feel about that. I have nephews and nieces in school, and they're kids. I don't like it.
Well, what are you going to do?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
But what do you do?
I mean,
we can make a fuss.
Protest about it, but I would get. I mean, everybody's worried about protesting ICE and not school.
Here's what we should do. Here's what we should do, Jennifer. We should find out whenever they're about to eat the halal food. We should go stand next to them, and we should all just blow whistles. Be like, I thought this was cool. I thought this is how you fought injustice. I thought this is how you get your way in society. Let's just follow them home. Hey, let's dox them all. Let's find everyone who wears a headscarf to school or eats the halal food. We'll find out where they live, and we'll follow them home. And that won't be weird, will it? We'll just follow them around.
No.
We'll block their cars with our cars in the middle of the street. We'll blow whistles. And of course, we're all being facetious here. We don't want to do this, and we don't want anyone to do
Obviously,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think I think we made a good point there. Good job, Jennifer. Thank you.
Yeah.
All
Thanks.
Right.
Bye.
Randy in Frisco, you're up.
Hey, so I think we just lean into it, because so here's the deal. It doesn't matter if it's Sunni, doesn't matter if it's Shia, doesn't matter if it's here in Texas, doesn't matter if it's over in Africa. The thing is that most people in America, there's freedom of religion, but there's not freedom of government. So what people are not really getting yet in their mind is that this is a theocracy. It is a form of government. Even though you may clothe or wrap yourself in a quote-unquote religion, this is still a government system. That's why could you imagine if the 11th commandment is thou shalt lie, to embed yourself into a community and then overthrow from the inside out their form of government with your form of government? That's literally what this is. Idiots that don't really realize that is really what gets me torqued. The sooner we can have legislation that says this is not a religion, this is a incompatible form of government within a democracy or a republic, then that's the only way we're going to get traction. Or we're going to be like the UK and pretend like it's not another form of government. Literally, that's why they wanted to set up their own courts here in Texas. Wake up. Wake up. This is not a religion. They're being consistent. It is not a religion. It is not. It is another form of government. So literally what your children are doing,
it's both.
Part of the American government, it's part of being their government, their theocracy.
Yeah, that's the perfect word for it there, theocracy. You're right, because it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of religion, but it's also a way to arrange society through government. And so our approach to it, and I mean our America and the Constitution, has been to sort of secularize it to where it's still based on Christian principles, but it doesn't have any religious requirements, to hold office or whatever. But
Every global maturity of this religion is theocracy.
Yes.
Every global maturity of this religion, quote unquote, theocracy is what happens. So that's what it is. It's not a religion. So the more that we say freedom of religion, oh, freedom of religion, no, literally you're cooking yourself, because it's literally the actual maturity of this is a form of government that replaces the government you're under right now.
That's a solid point. That's 2 good calls in a row. Thank you, Randy and Frisco. Yeah, that's a good reminder. The word theocracy should probably be used a lot more in connection with this story. All right. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. All right, so we got halal food in public schools in Texas now. What do you do about it? You want to do the whistle thing? Let me know. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. We've got some people with some strong opinions on halal food now being served at public schools in Texas. Yeah, they're taking your tax money and they're using it not in the most efficient manner, what is accommodating someone's religious preference. And a lot of people are surprised here because they're like, well, what was all that separation of church and state stuff? Oh, yeah, the same people that are screaming that at you when Christianity gets included in public schools, they're the ones that are fostering this and celebrating it and bragging about it on Facebook. So there's not a double standard. They're not for separation of church and state. They are for separation of Christianity and whatever. I mean, that makes the most sense to me. Brian, Fort Worth, you're on WBAP. Hey, Brian.
Hey, James. Yeah, you're dead on target with the left is against Christianity and they don't care what else they bring in. But we've been dancing around the solution for years and years because the solution is hard. And that solution is you have to look at the First Amendment and modify it to exclude Islam. That's the only way to get out of this.
Disagree. Number one, we could deport most of these people. We could stop letting them in. The fact that we have 30% of Frisco is now Indian immigrants on H-1B visas. We could like reverse that. Number one, we have to stop doing that. Number two, all these people that get H-1B visas, gone. Just get out of here. You're not supposed to be here. Anyone who proposed the Epic City or was part of it or thought it was a good idea, go. There are videos right now. For those of you not on social media, if you go look for it, there was, remember Nick Shirley, the guy who did the Minneapolis video? You know where he was? You know where he was this weekend? He was in DFW, and he was trying to go to the Epic Center Mosque, and they wouldn't let him in because he's not a Muslim. And he was saying, but this should be open to the public. You can't tell somebody, you can't have somebody not be allowed to go into a public space based solely on their religion. Nope, you can't come in. Can't have anything to do with it. Can't come see it. Can't come talk to us. Get off of our property. No interest in the media from that. Actual religious bigotry. They're not worried about religious bigotry. I don't even think they're anti-Christian. I just think they know if they can slag Christians and take them down a peg, that's good for them politically. They get more of their political opposition when they attack Christians than not. So just like I don't think they're really racist, I don't think they're really anti-white. They just realize men from Western European civilizations, the Anglosphere, have been the biggest impediment to socialism spreading on planet Earth. We stopped them in Korea. We tried to stop them in Vietnam. We hadn't let them take Taiwan, even though that should be easy pickings for a giant country with 1 billion people like China. You can't take this island that's 100 miles off your shore. We're the ones who do that. We're the ones who ended the Soviet Union. We're the ones who pushed communism out of Romania and Poland and Hungary and Czech and the Slovakias and Slovenians and the Serbians and the Bulgarians. We pushed back socialism out of all those countries. We are the worst thing that happened to you if you're a socialist. And that's why they're against us. It's not the color of our skin. It's the content of our character.
Well, I think if we don't take care of it at the root, we will continue to have this problem.
Well, stop importing them, and as many as we can export. Remigrate the ones that are already doing this. It seems pretty simple. I wouldn't touch the First Amendment, though, Brian.
Okay.
Yeah, just alluding back to your original point. Thank you, sir. Frank Corsicana, you're next up on WBAP.
Thank you, James, for the opportunity to speak. First of all, I want to say I'm a seminary grad, and one of the things I learned that there's not a such thing as a separation of church and state. I don't know if you said it earlier in the show or not.
Well, it's not a line in the Constitution, right?
Right. With Thomas Jefferson wrote in a letter to the Danbury Baptist Church to establish no single religion. Well, they use that under the guise of religion, but they're moreover an ideology. And I started learning this when I went to Desert Storm. Robert F. Morey wrote about he's the first one to write about the culture and Islam altogether. And what they do is they come in and they establish themselves and their ideas and their norms, which are, quite the contrary to most any, for that matter. And they go to conquer it. That's why in New York City they wanted, when the towers went down, to put up. They wanted that tall building.
The
to have
Cordoba
the
Mosque to be,
crescent moon and that, because they put up a minaret and it establishes them. That's their speech to everybody that they are the conquerors of it. And what they do to women is horrendous. I can't even say it over the air. And that's what these people need. People need to start talking about.
We know.
Need understanding.
Agreed. Look here, I'll play it for you. This is what if you ask
rape
them.
girls?
Some of us, some of us.
Do you know how many times you've done that? How many times have you raped girls?
I did it maybe 2 or 3 times. I did it once.
I did it 4 times. One of us pretends as if he's a nice
Yeah, they're
guy.
over here giving you rape lessons, talking about it like like you're going to go play putt-putt. Oh, yeah, so you get your friends out, and one of them grabs her legs, and the other one holds a knife to her throat, and you tell her don't scream, then you take turns. It's a good time. Yeah, that's what some people are importing, and they're okay with it. Isn't that weird, Frank?
Yeah, very.
Yeah, right.
It's dangerous, and like I say, if a woman knew that they were treated less than a dog, and and seeing what they bring, would just do some little research.
Well, that's the confounding part is these Me Too women and these feminists and the girls that were wearing the pink hats. They're the ones who are ushering. Go look at the principal for Wiley East. She's a cute little blonde lady. Looks like she's about my age. She's got a beautiful family. She's just wearing a hijab on National Headscarf Day and at the Muslim table and celebrating it like it's the coolest thing in the world. It's confounding stuff, Frank. Chris in Dallas, you're on WBAP.
Hey, thanks, James. Appreciate it. I've been listening to your discussion. It's been interesting to me. Here's my conclusions after looking at this at some length. First off, all roads lead to Sharia law. That's the first operating principle of the Muslim faith. Second, and this is most controversial, there's no such thing as a moderate Muslim. If they're moderate, maybe they're not radical, but they will accept Sharia law if that's where it goes.
Well, I only push back on that because there are some. They may be a small minority, and like worldwide, the surveys are scary as hell. If you do a survey of worldwide global Muslims, like 80% of them think it's okay to commit acts of violence to further Islam. But here in America, like I've met them, like Casey Kasem, he doesn't count as a moderate Muslim.
I mean, he has assimilated. That's
exactly. So a lot of them have assimilated, and I don't have a problem with them. And I probably should do a better job delineating between them. Because like Dave Chappelle's converted to Islam. What are we going to deport Dave Chappelle? Is he really a threat? Is he really going to put a headscarf on anybody? Is he really the problem that we're talking about? No. There is such thing as secular, okay, moderate Muslims. I used to work with some.
Okay. Well, I can buy into the assimilation. But when they don't assimilate, as they don't in Plano, Texas,
yes.
I've been there, been around it, I mean, they have no interest in assimilating. They're interested in importing their product, which is their lifestyle, leading to Sharia law, and that's it. And I mean, I think there is a difference between Islam and Muslim. I think Islam is the political system. Muslim is the vehicle, or that's the religion part of it. And I remember when I was a kid.
No, Muslim is just an Islamic person. I'm out of time, but it's good. All good calls here. You guys are great today. But coming up next, I'm going to give away some tickets. We're playing Dead or Alive, and the tickets are pretty cool. If you're a baseball fan, college baseball fan, 4 tickets to the baseball series at Globe Life Park this weekend. The colleges that are going to be there: Auburn, Florida State, Kansas State, Louisville, Michigan, and Nebraska. So if you're a fan of any of those or just college baseball in general, go ahead and call in right now, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. We're going to play Dead or Alive, and today's category is Robert Duvall castmates. He passed away today, so in honor of Robert Duvall, they're all going to be castmates from Robert Duvall's movies. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. You are just in time for today's edition of Dead or Alive. Now, Dead or Alive's the easier of the game shows. I'm going to name 10 celebrities. You have to tell me if they're dead or alive. We start off with an excellent theme song written just for this show. Thank you, Mr. Jovi. And thank you. Welcome to today's edition of Dead or Alive. Today's category, in honor of the passing of the great Robert Duvall, it's all Robert Duvall castmates. I'm going to give you a castmate. I'll tell you what movie they're in with Robert Duvall, and then you tell me if they're dead or alive. At stake today, we're playing for 4 tickets to the Ameji Bank College Baseball Series at Globe Life Park. Coming up this weekend, a whole bunch of college teams are going to be playing baseball. Auburn, Florida State, Kansas State, Louisville, Michigan, Nebraska. The rest of us have to go get tickets at globelifefield.com, or I'm going to try and give away a pair right now. And we start with, is this Bree?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Bree in Mansfield, you're first up on Dead or Alive. Are you a big Robert Duvall fan? Are you familiar with his canon of work?
Not exactly.
That's okay. They're all 50-50 shots anyway. Let's see how you do. All right, Bree. Okay. We'll start off with James Caan. He was in The Godfather with Robert Duvall. Is he dead or alive?
I'm going to go with dead.
James Caan died in 2022. Martin Sheen was Robert Duvall's castmate in Apocalypse Now. Is Martin Sheen dead or alive?
Let's say alive.
Martin Sheen is alive, 85 years old. Diane Keaton played alongside Robert Duvall in Godfather Part 2. Is Diane Keaton dead or alive?
Alive.
She just died in October. Thank you very much, Bree.
All right, thanks.
We tried. David in Crowley, you're next up on Dead or Alive. You ready? David in Crowley just hung up. We'll go to Lou in a town that's named for him, Louisville. You ready? Lou?
Hello?
Yeah, whoever this is. You're next up on Dead or Alive.
Lou.
Oh, this is Lou. Okay. All right.
Okay.
We're on Robert Duvall castmates. John Ritter, he played with Robert Duvall in Sling Blade. Is he dead or alive?
Dead.
Yeah. Died in 2003. Blythe Danner played alongside Robert Duvall in The Great Santini. Is Blythe Danner, is she dead or alive?
The Great Santini, repeat that?
Yeah, so the movie is The Great Santini. Playing alongside Robert Duvall is an actress named Blythe Danner. Is she dead or alive?
Oh, let's go with alive.
You got it. Robert Redford was in The Natural with
Dead.
Robert.
Dead.
I like that confidence there, sir. Sean Penn in the movie Colors. Dead or alive?
Alive. Well.
You already got it. Michael Douglas, Falling Down. Dead or alive?
Dead.
No, he's alive, but actually everyone else hung up. You want to just stick with me for 2 more?
Okay.
Randy Quaid played alongside Robert Duvall in Days of Thunder. Dead or alive?
I like him. I'm trying to remember. I think he's alive.
He is alive. And finally, Faye Dunaway, who was a co-star in The Network. Dead or alive?
Faye Dunaway. Oh, my gosh. You're throwing me way back. Do you have your 3000 Tron? Anyway, let's go with alive.
All right, you got it. You got it. You're good, Lou. You're lucky Bree and that other guy hung up. Who was the other guy that was on there? They didn't have to hang up. They just gave it to you, Lou. All right, I'm gonna put you on. I'm gonna put you on hold. We're gonna give you a 4-pack of baseball tickets, and you go have fun at Globe Life Field with the baseball series. This has been today's edition of Dead or Alive. All right, now, if you were interested in getting some tickets, globelifefield.com. If you want to go see a baseball game for Auburn, Florida State, Kansas State, Louisville, Michigan, or Nebraska, globelifefield.com. That sounds like an awesome hookup for college baseball fans. And in honor of the great Robert Duvall, we have a couple of tributes here. Number one, I asked Joseph Haidt, who is just the mastermind on all of these things. He is our film historian. His favorite Robert Duvall clip comes from when his character fires Schumacher in The Network.
I got a hit, Schumacher, and Ruddy doesn't count anymore. He was hoping I'd fall on my face with his Beale show, but I didn't. It's a big, fat, big hit, and I don't have to waffle around with Ruddy anymore. If he wants to take me up before the CCA board, let him. Do you think Ruddy is stupid enough to go to the CCA board and say, I'm taking our one-hit show off the air? And comes November 14, I'm going to be standing up there at the annual CCA Management Review meeting, and I'm going to announce projected earnings for this network for the first time in 5 years. And believe me, Mr. Jensen's going to be sitting there rocking back and forth in his little chair, and he's going to say, that's very good, Frank. Keep it up. So don't have any illusions about who's running this network from now on. You're fired. I want you out of your office before noon, or I'll have you thrown out.
And a montage put together by the great Garrett from the hit radio segment Garrett's World.
Napalm, son. Nothing else in the world smells like that. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You may now have the privilege of serving under the meanest, toughest, screamingest squadron commander in the Marine Corps. Me. Now, I don't want you to consider me as just your commanding officer. I want you to look on me like I was, well, God.
What you have to understand, Sonny, is that while Sollozzo is being guarded like this, he is invulnerable. Now, nobody has ever gunned down a New York police captain, never. It would be disastrous. All the 5 families would come after you, Sonny. The Corleone family would be outcast. Even the old man's political protection would run for cover.
Is that all you wanted, Henry? It was a kind word and attaboy? Then you should have come home. We all waited, quietly. But you never came, okay? And I was the one she blamed because you wouldn't come home. Me. Now, was I tough on you? Yes. Sometimes the things that may or may not be true are the things that a man needs to believe in the most. That people are basically good. That honor, courage, and virtue mean everything. That power and money and power mean nothing. That good always triumphs over evil. And I want you to remember this, that love, true love never dies. You remember that, boy. Doesn't matter if it's true or not, you see. A man should believe in those things because those are the things worth believing in.
The great Robert Duvall left us today. Coming up next, did cowboys come from Spain? I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, fellow Texans. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. And being Texans, I'm sure we have strong opinions on Cowboys. What does and doesn't make a Cowboy? Where did all this come from? So AOC was asked her thoughts on a Rubio speech at the German conference, whatever. And she picked a weird criticism here. It feels really nitpicky. And it's also kind of wrong, but it's also kind of fits into this whole just approach to the world where, hey, if a straight white guy is getting the credit, there must be something wrong there. Certainly we can transfer that credit from a Western European to somebody else. We can't say anything nice. You wonder why you do so bad with white people? You wonder why you do so bad with men? Say one nice thing about me just once in your life. I don't have any sound clips. You understand in the Audiotron 3000? Of where she's saying anything nice about me or people who look like me. Anyway, here she is.
Rubio's speech was a pure appeal to Western culture.
By the way, what's wrong with that? What is wrong with a pure appeal to Western culture? Is you say West like that's a. Do you agree? She said that like a pejorative. Like his whole thing. She wasn't saying that to praise his speech. She wasn't saying that as a reason why it's a good idea. She was saying that as a basis on why she's criticizing it. Lady, this is your culture. What are you talking about? Just demonizing Western culture? That's insane. I dare you to say that about any other culture or any other race or any other religion.
Rubio's speech was a pure appeal to Western culture. My favorite part was when he said that American cowboys came from Spain.
I thought they came from Winnetou, but
I believe the Mexicans and descendants of African enslaved peoples would like to have a word on that.
All right, first, the guy gave a 30-minute speech and you're asked about it, and this is what you go pull up. This is not a real intelligent conversation we're about to have or a real deep conversation we're about to have. You didn't bring up any issues of the day. You didn't bring up any economics. You didn't bring up any statecraft. You didn't bring up any history, not even any politics. It's just this weird semantic game where he's Spanish cowboys. And it's quite obvious that if you go look into it, yeah, Spain is the original cultural starting point for what became American cowboys. Now, it did so mostly through Mexico. Like, they went there first. But make no mistake about it, before the Spanish got here, there weren't neither horses nor cows. They brought them both, along with the idea that, hey, maybe we should have rodeos. A word that's what? Oh, yeah, that's a Spanish word, not a native Nahuatl Mexico word. It's a Spanish word. In fact, they all speak a Spanish language now. The vaqueros up here, it's just so frustrating. It just really is. Because like before the Spanish showed up, neither cows nor horses. But somehow you're going to skip over the idea that this whole, ranching thing originated with the Spanish. And there's a whole room full of people that are just clapping and laughing. Yeah, Rubio's so stupid. Most of the words are of Spanish origin. Most of the practices originated in Spain. Bullfighting rings are in Spain, and they were in Spain long before they were in Mexico. The fact that Mexico has bullfighting rings is because they're copying the Spanish. The fact that Mexico has cowboys is because they're copying the Spanish. The fact that we have them is because we're kind of meshing the mishmash that originated from Spain with different elements and came up with our own distinct thing. And that's not to diminish the contributions of other disparate groups, whatever. A lot of people joined in on this whole cowboy thing and they did it brilliantly. Do you have to criticize everything? Do you have to just nitpick? There wasn't something more important that was said by the Secretary of State at a foreign conference where we're talking about geopolitical affairs. You're going to go, the number one thing, you're just going to go nitpick the Spanish origins of cowboy culture. Why? Does that do anybody any good? Is this the cafeteria table in junior high? What are we doing? All right. The next Parker's Pour is coming up this week. That's right. Parker's Pour is where we're going to get together at the Whiskey and Rye Hotel, or Whiskey and Rye Bar at the bottom of the Omni Fort Worth Hotel. There's going to be a live James show from 2 to 5. You can come out and see me do the show live at some folding table. There'll be some giveaways. Then afterwards, we're going to hang out. There's a happy hour, but we're also going to do trivia. I'm going to do a round of trivia at 5:30, hosted by me. Another round of trivia at 6:30, hosted by me. We'll have prizes for both, and a prize for if you stick around for both, a cumulative prize. And if you can't stick around for both, you can only go to one or the other. That's awesome, too. If you can just come by, say hi, shake my hand, wave, and that's all you got time for, that's cool, too. But we're going to be doing this every third Thursday of the month. The Parker's Pour. And this Thursday, Whiskey and Rye. I'm going to be there for a long time. I'm going to be there I'm going to get there about 1:30 because I got to set up and whatnot. Do the show from 2 to 5, happy hour from 5 to 7 with trivia at 5:30 and 6:30. And it's going to be James Show trivia. It's going to be the kind of trivia that you would expect to be on WBAP. So come on out, have fun, invite somebody, judge me based on my appearance. We'll have a good time. Stick around. Coming up next, Mark Levin. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP.